One of the weird things about Daniil Medvedev is that when he gets a short forehand inside the baseline, instead of coming to the net, he often backs up. That's statistically bad tennis, and if he does this against Novak Djokovic in the US Open final, he's going to lose. So Medvedev is going to have to approach the net a lot more than normal to have any chance of winning when they meet in Arthur Ashe Stadium, a stadium so large the courtside seats are in Queens, but the nosebleeds are in Brooklyn. Hey, what's up? Will Hamilton here, and in this video, we are going to look at 2 ways that Medvedev can get to the net against Djokovic. Now, thanks to analytics whiz Craig O'Shaughnessy, who actually used to crunch the numbers for Djokovic, we know that on the Pro Tour, when you play from the baseline, you only win the point 46% of the time. But when you get to the net, you win the point 66% of the time. So for Medvedev to retreat behind the baseline after hitting that short forehand, instead of following that thing to the net, the numbers show that is a clear mistake, even against someone who passes as well as Djokovic. Medvedev gets away with it against most players, but unfortunately for him, he is only the second best baseliner in the world, and we all know who the best is. Me. Wait a second. It actually looks like Djokovic is the best baseliner in the world, and I'm just a distant third. Also, there's nothing on these pages. So let's take a look at a point from this past year's Australian Open between Medvedev and Stefanos Tsitsipas to see why this is such a big mistake. Here we have Medvedev on the near court, and he immediately gets a short ball and rips a forehand, but does not follow this to the net, which allowed Tsitsipas to just kind of slice the ball cross court to neutralize, or at least try to neutralize. If Medvedev had followed that to the net, it would have been an easy put-away volley. Still has another short ball. He's inside the baseline here, rips that down the line. Tsitsipas doesn't hit a great shot. This would have been an easy volley if Medvedev had followed it to the net. Obviously, he didn't. The rally continues for a couple more shots. They kind of go back and forth. Medvedev goes behind here, gets another short ball. Inside the baseline, rips it, doesn't follow it to the net. Tsitsipas just rolled it cross court just like that. This would have been another easy put-away volley. And then the rally continues. They go back and forth a couple more shots. Medvedev goes inside out, and then he misses the cross-court forehand to lose that point. So Medvedev passed up 3 opportunities to come to the net and get an easy put-away volley. He got away with it against Tsitsipas because he's a better baseline player, but that is simply not going to work against Djokovic. And by the way, did you know that Djokovic is the spokesman for a company called the Ultimate Software Group? And personally, I can't think of a better spokesman. I mean, who knows more about cloud-based human capital management software systems for business than Novak Djokovic? Now, it's fair to say that Medvedev doesn't have the greatest approach shots in the world, which could contribute to some of his reluctance to move forward. Here we have a split screen of Medvedev on the left here about to approach against Djokovic, and then on the right we've got Federer also about to approach to Djokovic. Now, just watch the difference between these 2 approach shots. Medvedev hits this ball through the court, while Federer hits this approach shot off the court. So Djokovic is in better position for the pass against Medvedev than he is against Federer. Now, despite that fact, the passing shot that Djokovic hits is kind of the same for both players. I mean, you can see that Medvedev here and then Federer here, they've got pretty similar volleys, right? The ball's above the net. They're both kind of at the service line and the center service line in the middle of the court. And then the volleys they hit are pretty similar. They just volley it to the open court. But you can see that Djokovic here is set up for this passing shot because he only had to move like that far to get to the ball. Whereas Djokovic here hasn't even reached the tennis ball because he had so far to run to get to Federer's volley, even though the volley that Federer and the volley that Medvedev were basically the same volley. And then as a result, you see that Djokovic is able to pass Medvedev, but then barely gets to the volley Federer hits, resulting in a weak lob that Federer easily puts away. So now let's talk about what Medvedev is doing differently at this year's US Open, because he's a smarter player and he's just matured a lot. I mean, I think we all remember when he lost that match at Wimbledon and then he threw loose change at the feet of the umpire. I mean, I'm sure you were just as horrified as I was who still carries around loose change? But now he's older and wiser. All of his money's in crypto, and he's coming to net a lot more. Through the semifinals at this year's Aussie Open, he had approached the net 96 times. But through the semis at the US Open, he has approached the net 134 times, which is a 40% increase. And of those 134 approaches, he has won 89 of them. And surprise, surprise, that works out to exactly 66%. So let's talk about how Medvedev is getting to the net more, because it's a little bit weird. It's not something you typically see. And here we have Medvedev in the far court against Daniil Evans, and he's going to hit a backhand approach shot. And that's just a little bit weird. You don't see that too often on the Pro Tour. Typically, the forehand is the better shot. Medvedev actually has a better backhand. But what you'll notice with that backhand is that he was able to generate an angle and pull Evans off of the court in a way that he's not always able to with his forehand. And so with the ensuing volley, that thing's pretty routine into the open court. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular with it. And because Evans was starting from here, he doesn't even try for this ball in a way that he might if he was somewhere in this area of the court. Then he just have obviously more of a chance to get to that ball. So keep an eye out for the backhand approach. Medvedev has been doing this all tournament. It works great. I think he's also going to need to approach off of the forehand as well and try and get it closer to the sidelines, whether that means approaching at the backhand or as a changeup at the forehand. So here's a fun fact about Medvedev you might not know. He was born in Moscow in 1996. And even though that was after the fall of the Soviet Union, in school, his favorite class was the proletariat. Now, if you're a tennis player, you should check out the Fuzzy Yellow Balls app. There's a link to download it from the App Store in the description, and one will appear at the end of this video during the bloopers. But you should check out the singles playbook and a play called Home Base. It's one that Federer uses a lot. But thank you for watching this video. I think that Djokovic is going to win in 4 sets. I think he's just playing too well right now, and obviously he's chasing the calendar Grand Slam and the Grand Slam record. So that's my prediction. But let me know what your prediction is in the comments below. Who do you think is going to win? How many sets do you think it's going to be? But yeah, thanks for watching this video. I'll see y'all in the next one. I mean, who knows more about cloud-based human capital management? I mean, who knows more about cloud-based human capital management software systems?